Hi, everyone. I just
Hey.
wanted to add something at this point. I'm Verna Knight, and I'm the current program chair. And I would have placed in the Zoom chat just a summary of those key areas that are being used currently for reviewing the work submitted for acceptance. And even as I previously served as the co-program chair last year, and now as the program chair. And certainly much of what the presenters in the panel are sharing are certainly ways that we can ensure that our papers stand a greater chance of acceptance. But I just wanted to add one practical element that needs to also be considered. Not just the amount of submissions that can be allowed, the amount of sessions we are given based on our numbers in the SIG, but ensuring that you are comprehensive in preparing your paper for submission, especially in those times when we have high number of persons submitting in a given year, based on where the conference is located or based on what the theme may be for that particular year. And so it's important that you take that we take our times and prepare our presented proposals of research, so that when it's combined and it's compared and ranked with the others, and you're looking as reviewers at the end, as program chairs, when we're looking to place the significant number of papers that we are allowed in that particular year for those sessions, the papers will be ranked to determine which are the most highest ranked papers or which are the best papers. And it's not done individually by us, but the AERA system allows for ranking those papers based on the reviewers' feedback. And so if you didn't do quite an excellent job, no matter how interesting your paper was, if you didn't score highly on all of those elements because your paper wasn't thoroughly prepared, no matter how interested we are in what you're sharing, when we rank those papers and we're using that kind of objective approach, your paper just may not make that top scored group and will not be allowed in a particular year. And we have had persons who would indicate, well, I've had papers accepted many years before, and I'm a good researcher. Why is my paper not accepted in this particular year? And it's not necessarily because it's not anything necessarily to do with the quality of your work, your general work as a researcher, but just your presented material submitted in that particular instance to the SIG. So it's really important that we take the time. The deadline for this submission is July 22nd. At this point, we should have our drafts being prepared or close to being prepared, so that you can at least have somebody look over it, etc. You go through those thorough processes to ensure that what you submit is something that truly represents the caliber of your work, and would ensure that it competes fairly well with the group of work that is submitted, and it certainly can make the top set that is accepted. So I just thought to share that with you.
And okay, go ahead, Talia.
Sorry, I just wanted to go back to the question raised by the doctoral candidate. I think it's important. It's also important for us to encourage doctoral candidates to submit and to grow as part of the process. So if I could just go back to that question, I think two things that I have noticed with doctoral submissions. One is that I see many times that there's this lack of gelling between the theory, the method, and the data. And I think oftentimes the three are not having a conversation with each other at all. So that becomes a difficulty or hurdle that particularly doctoral candidates and their submissions, they're not meeting. So I would say, to answer your question specifically, look back at the theory, the methodology, and your data, and ensure that you're not just putting on a theoretical spin in the paper as a requirement based on the rubric or the metric that is being used, but you're really thinking through conceptually about what you're doing, and you're ensuring that conceptually, methodologically, the two of them are having a conversation, and that conversation is bringing together some key issues and key points and using the data to articulate that. That being said, one of the things that I say to my doctoral students, I say, just don't forget the 3 C's. I said, you have to have clarity, because many times students, they have so much to say. Remember, it's a doctoral thesis, so they're writing 50, 80,000 words for a thesis. and they don't know how to bring all that into a 2,000 words. And a lot of times you see many ideas in one paragraph, and it's a convolution of ideas, but there's a lack of clarity and when it's articulated because there's too much being said in one breath. So clarity is important, and that affects whether the paper is concise, which is the second C, and the last one would be that of whether it's comprehensively addressing all the elements of the paper. So the 3 C's in my case, and if you could remember that very easily with the acronym, it's clarity, conciseness, and comprehensiveness.
Great. I just wanted to jump in after Verna and Talia and speak on behalf, because last year I was the program chair, and to reiterate Verna's point that the best papers make it in, the best written proposals, the best written 2,000 word proposals are the ones that make it in, because we have to, you know, rank them and check them. So really, if possible, make sure your proposal is tight, follows the 3 C's, as Talia just said. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned is that this is a blind review. So please make sure that there are no identifiers on your paper whatsoever. Please make sure all names or previous publications that you may have had are anonymized. You know, if it's a publication, you just write author and the year, because that will get your paper thrown out very early. And keep it to the 2,000 word context. Again, as a past reviewer and as program chair, we've had to not review some papers because they were simply too long. I know that AERA system has put things in place. So if you have 2,001 words, it wouldn't accept it. You know, you have to really respect the word limit. And I just wanted to say and acknowledge, as Talia and Laurette have done, the importance of having mentors like Lance, who 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago,
wow.
yes, Lance, it's that long. It was 2009 that I was, summer 2009, writing that proposal that made such a big difference. I want to encourage those who have not yet submitted to do that. And I'm pleased to tell you, Lance, I have to say, because, you know, this is really a circle. In this room, there are at least 4 people who I have done what you did for me 11 years ago, badgered them and said, you must submit to AERA. And that is how we will keep this thing growing. You know, I'll acknowledge Sylvia and Alicia and Cheryl and Sarita, who are here in the room as newbies as we were a few years ago. And so it's important that you get involved and that you encourage others to get involved. So Lance, on your retirement, I'm so jealous, but you know, there's always retirement and post-retirement. Congratulations and thank you very much for you know, being the kind of mentor that you have been to a lot of us here, but especially to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And we've got 2 more minutes, so last. Sylvia looks like.
Yes,
Brian.
I'm seeing Sylvia, yes.
I could not say anything. I mean, you know how I feel around Lance. He's my old Lancelot. And Lance, yeah, he encouraged me. Laurette too encouraged me, and joining KSIG was one of the best professional decisions that I've made, and I'm really pleased today. I skipped out of one meeting because I wanted to be here, and I heard Lancelot was going to be here too. But I really want to commend you, Annika. And for those who don't know, I'm Sylvia Henry from Barbados, and I was the chair of this SIG and handed over to a very competent Annika. So I am so very proud of you, Annika, and your team. I'm very pleased with what's happening here. And I can safely say Zoom has redefined, not Zoom, COVID-19 has redefined how we do things, but it has not defined us. You know, we are still who we are, very competent professionals. And I'm really pleased to see that the SIG has been utilizing Zoom to bring persons together. And the richness that you shared this morning is one that you can utilize to pivot your career. And I want to ensure that I want to encourage you to continue to send your papers into, or if you have not started, to send your papers in. And I also want to encourage Annika and the team, because we get excellent papers, but we can't always accept all of them, to continue to utilize this forum to share those papers that are really great, that maybe we can't accept, because we've recognized over the years that there are papers that are just there. We can't send them forward for the conference, but they're really great papers. So maybe we can have a forum such as this where persons present their papers, present their ideas, and it is not all lost. So COVID has redefined how we do things, and this is excellent. So I thank all of you and encourage all of you to stay close to these things. Good things are happening.
And Sylvia, what an excellent suggestion. And maybe as you present your paper in a thing like this, we can encourage you and show you ways how to get it published.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you know, and I mean, not all of us are in a university which is publish or perish, but I was certainly in one which was publish or perish, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So therefore, and that is important. I mean, a trick from my experience at Warwick University is I learned to be concise, because I can never forget his name, Dr. Jonathan Field, with his 5,000-word assignment. After marking it and giving you a grade, I took out all the main points, give you the exact paper to go in 2,500 words.
Yes.
And the third time he did it was 1,000 words. The same topic, the same thing, and I know he had a paper with all your main points. How do you move them from 5,000 to 1,000, covering all the main arguments that you made?
Mm-hmm.
I sweated, but I did it, and since I've learned how to be concise.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go through the profession, the process, and you move up the scale and you go to an executive position, whether it's chair or dean or associate, the case might be, you have to learn to write executive summaries. Nobody reads your long paper or a long report. You have to be able to put those bullet points, short paragraphs of what each point is. And if they want to read further, they can say, I have the entire thing for you to read. So it's a good practice to start from now, how to be very concise. So Tyler, yes, it's 3 C's. How to really be clear, concise, and comprehensive. And thank you, Anika. Thank you so much.
Yes, with that, I will jump back in because I want to respect everyone's time. And I just say thank you very much, Dr. Esnut and Dr. Brown, for doing this for us, for being our panelists. I mean, I've submitted to AERA for a few years now, and some of those things I didn't know. So we really appreciate your words of wisdom. Also, thank you, everyone. There are at least 3 of us who gave concluding remarks: Joanne, Sylvia, Verna. You know, thanks for just jumping in, being our groundwork, really doing the footwork for our SIG. And thank you for just jumping in and just rounding up this conversation. For those of us who participated, it has been awesome to see the support. I mean, at one point we had 34 people who joined in with us today. That is fantastic. It warms my heart. It lets me know that, hey, we really want to, we have a community that we really need to pull together and strive together. I see folk from South Africa. I see from the UK, I see from the Caribbean, I see from the US here on this call. And so it is awesome and amazing. So it seems like too, is such a response that we might, as we said, continue using Zoom, as Sylvia said, to build our community and to share. And something I wanted to add in, we need to use each other as resources as well. So for example, Dr. Brown, I was on my, trying to converge my models. I'm a quant researcher. And I emailed Dr. Brown and I said, hey, Lance, I'm stuck. 2 times for 2 papers has been successfully accepted and published because of Dr. Brown. He has been the only person to tell me what was wrong with my models. So really, we really need to we really need to come together and use each other and just, collaborate, work, and just keep pushing our agendas forward.
And he doesn't charge you.
No, I don't.
Thanks a lot. He is a wonderful guy. He is a wonderful gentleman, wonderful
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.